Gwen slams the papers on the table and declares that she won't let him take her son away from her. The man opposing Gwen is frustrated and believes they can reach a reasonable agreement. This man is the father. To explain how this situation came to be, we must start 2 years ago on a cruise ship. Here, there is good food, good scenery, and even hot men, which makes this the perfect vacation. At least that's what Gwen's friend, Carol, thinks. Gwen is occupied reading a manhwa on her phone. They are here because Gwen's father gave her 2 cruise tickets so she can go with her blind date. Gwen's father wants to make sure she doesn't get lonely as she grows old, and Gwen is determined to make it happen. But the date ended before she could mention the cruise. This happens every time Gwen meets someone new, and she starts to think she needs to change. Back to the cruise. Today is their last day there. Carol stresses that they must not leave empty-handed. But Gwen has discovered as she already bought souvenirs. This is not what Carol meant. Gwen isn't confident she can find a partner, but Carol insists that all she needs is a push. So they are going to party tonight. They change into appropriate clothing, and Gwen thinks her outfit is going too far. But Carol insists this is exactly what she needs to make men go after her. At the club, they encounter 2 men who ask to join them, and Carol lets them. They all introduce themselves, but Gwen is left out of the casual conversation because she feels out of place. When one of the men tries to use a pickup line on her, Gwen answers it but can't keep the conversation going. After many more attempts to converse, Gwen realizes that she's terrible at conversation. So, they decide to stop trying to get a man and just enjoy themselves. Gwen wonders if she will ever be able to fit in with the other adults and find the right person. But none of that has happened yet. Gwen stares at a man with purple hair who looks like he fits in. Gwen makes eye contact with the purple-haired man, and he approaches her. He asks Gwen for help and walks away with her so he could escape the club. He only did it because he noticed Gwen was staring at him. Gwen reveals that it wasn't her intention to make him uncomfortable. She only noticed that he was having a good time. The man says that he can help Gwen have a good time, but as he is saying this, Gwen notices that he looks sad. Gwen's stomach is grumbling, so he invites her to join him for dinner. While saying this, he pokes her cheek for fun. Gwen doesn't seem to enjoy it, so the man thanks her and walks away. This makes Gwen remember that she needs to give herself a push to make things work. So, she calls out to the man and asks if the food is good. The man is confused, but Gwen says that she needs to tell Carol about this first before they go. They are now eating, and Gwen likes the food. The man invites Gwen to watch the fireworks together after dinner, and she agrees. Gwen isn't normally the type of person to go along with a stranger's requests, but he doesn't seem like a bad guy. Surely nothing could go wrong. They are now watching the fireworks, and Gwen is having fun. But as she is watching, she notices that the man looks sad every time he smiles. Then, the cruise staff congratulate the man getting engaged to someone named Elaine. Gwen doesn't know who Elaine is, but the man explains that he was supposed to propose to his girlfriend today, and it didn't work out. The man decides this is the end and says goodbye. But Gwen stops him and says that she had fun and doesn't want to leave him when he is miserable. The man laughs it off and introduces himself as Arthur Moranti. Gwen also introduces herself. Gwen decides to follow Arthur to the room where they engage in intimate relations. This is where it all started. In hindsight, Gwen got in this situation because she was too agreeable that night. Back to the present, Arthur is having flashbacks. His family is worried about him. He also has a condition that prevents him from having children. Arthur thought his condition would make him worthless, but Gwen believed he was a good person. Arthur lives in a big apartment in the city. He is awake and gets a message saying that Gwen and their son arrived home safely. Arthur will be meeting with them afterward. He is excited to meet his son. To prepare, he asks his nana what kind of surprise gift he should get his son. At Gwen's house, she is on the phone with Carol explaining that she had to agree to his terms because Arthur has a lawyer. After the lawyer left the room, Arthur explained that all he wants to be is a father. Gwen questions if he's really capable of this, but Arthur insists she hears him out so the legal case can go away. Gwen agrees, and Arthur explains that he wants visitation rights and 3 months to prove that he can be a good father to their son, Leon. Gwen will still have sole custody, but Arthur really needs to see his son. Carol encourages Gwen to get a lawyer to help and to not give in, but then she hears the doorbell ring, meaning that Arthur is here. Gwen opens the door to see a man with a panda head holding a stuffed giraffe and balloons. Gwen tries to figure it out until Arthur reveals that it's him, and he did this to surprise Leon. Arthur enters and is looking at Leon. When Leon sees the panda-headed man, he gets excited. Arthur takes off his head and asks if he can go near Leon. Gwen feels like he is different from the person who threatened her in the courtroom. Arthur kneels down and puts his finger out. Leon grabs it. He wants to hold Leon, but Gwen doesn't trust him enough. But Arthur insists that he needs to prove himself, so she allows it. Arthur comments how Gwen was scary at the courtroom, but this was only because Arthur threatened her. This wasn't his intention. He just wanted to see his child. They haven't seen each other since the cruise. Arthur asks how Gwen has been doing, but then Leon starts to cry. Arthur decides this is his signal to leave. He plans to keep his promise to not get courts involved and directs Leon to stop messing with Gwen's hair. Then he leaves and will return tomorrow. Gwen thinks that Arthur might look nice, but she needs to be careful because she doesn't know if it's an act. Gwen is acting like Arthur committed war crimes even though she left him that night on the cruise. Gwen's parents had her late, so her parents seem old. Her mom passed away when she was young, and this is one of the few pictures she has of her. Gwen's dad pushed her to get a boyfriend, but she never did. Soon, her dad passed away and she was left with no family because no one wanted her. Now, Leon is Gwen's only family and she refuses to give him up. At Arthur's house, he is happy to have seen his cute son. He never thought he'd have a family because of his condition, but now he has one. Regardless, Arthur is caught up about why he asked Gwen how she was doing. He hasn't been there to support her. What he really wants to ask is why she left so suddenly that night. Arthur wakes up the next day, but he couldn't sleep because he knows people in the United States can't watch anime such as Your Name on Netflix. But if they switch their location to South Korea using ExpressVPN, they could watch Your Name with ease. Help Arthur sleep by using my link, expressvpn.com/Manhwa World, where you can get 3 months extra free when you get a 12-month plan. Link in description and pinned comment. At the office, Arthur is resting while Percy is working. Today, Percy is going to meet his ex-wife. He needs to rebuild her trust in him so he can be with his daughter. This makes Arthur realize that he needs to focus on Gwen's feelings if he wants to gain her trust. At Gwen's house, she promises Leon that she'll buy him cute clothes when she gets a job. Then Arthur arrives. He brought food, but Gwen already made dinner. So he suggests they eat together, and Gwen reluctantly agrees. Arthur is not impressed by her lack of enthusiasm. At the table, Arthur puts a bib on Leon and Gwen offers Arthur the food she made. He accepts it. Gwen is spoon-feeding Leon and Arthur comments how he finds it adorable. Arthur likes the food, but it is different from his Nana's food. Gwen doesn't know who that is and Arthur explains that she raised him. This makes Gwen think Arthur got everything handed to him growing up, but she still can't believe the person talking about his Nana is the same one who threatened her in court. So, Gwen asks if this is the real Arthur. He avoids the question. Then, Leon starts crying, and Arthur tries to calm him down. Suddenly, Leon poops. Arthur is prepared to change the diaper and insists on doing it, but he doesn't know how. So, Gwen tells him how, and it works. Arthur is getting ready to leave, and he says that his Nan is coming to help her tomorrow. Before he goes, Arthur gives Gwen flowers and says that he's the same person she met on the cruise, but he hopes they can start over as friends this time around. Gwen feels like it's hard to get mad at Arthur when he acts like this. At Arthur's house, Nana is shocked that Arthur has a child and asks if he's told his mother. But he has only told her and Gareth because his mother will make a fuss over it and Gwen will worry. Elaine doesn't know either. The kid is definitely Arthur's because he has tests to prove it. He will tell the family about it later, but not now. Also, Arthur's mother and Nana are the only other people who know about his condition. The only problem now is if Gwen will accept Arthur. He searched hard for her and finally found her in a small town. Gwen is cleaning the house when Nana, whose name is Lydia, arrives. She insists that she can be of use because she looked after Arthur ever since he was a baby. Gwen insists she can handle it, but then Leon starts crying. So Nana picks Leon up and calms him down by moving him around like an airplane. Gwen is surprised she did that so fast and accepts her offer to help. Nana shows Gwen various tricks to handle situations, which impresses Gwen. She was worried about the person Arthur was going to send to help her, but Nana seems to be very kind. At the office, Arthur recalls how after he offered Gwen flowers, she told him to just focus on Leon. Arthur wants to know why she had the reaction. Arthur directs his employee to find more information on Gwen's family. He also can't understand her reactions and wonders if it's his fault. Back at Gwen's house, she is appreciative of Nana because she could get things done that she previously didn't have time for. Nana's concerned at how Gwen has to stay inside all day, but Gwen says it's fine because it's only a few months and she plans to honor the agreement. Gwen thanks Nana for her help, but Nana thanks her. This is the first time in a while Arthur has come home happy. Then Arthur arrives and he sits down next to Gwen. Arthur says that he has a day off tomorrow and suggests they have a picnic at a nearby foothill. But Gwen declines because she's tired. So Arthur suggests he and Nana stay the night so he can spend time with Gwen and Leon. Arthur wants to understand Gwen, but she thinks this is a ploy for him to get custody of Leon. Gwen doesn't know if she should believe Arthur is a kind person. Before she can answer, Nana suggests they leave because Leon is asleep. So Gwen says they can stay over if Arthur does one thing for her in return. Arthur accepts as long as it doesn't alter the agreement. Arthur and Nana are in the bedroom and he asks if she found out anything about Gwen. But she didn't because Gwen isn't talkative. Nana is concerned about Gwen being forced to hide in this house which he owns. Arthur is doing this so his mother and sister don't find out. He wants to make it up to Gwen and Leon before he gets others involved. Nana warns him about keeping Gwen in this situation for too long. Nana leaves the room and tells Gwen that she can't stay the night because she needs to look after her grandchildren. But Nana insists that Gwen should give Arthur a chance and she will be back in the morning. Gwen agrees but is worried about being alone with Arthur. Arthur is resting until Leon starts crying. He rushes over and offers to help, but Gwen declines. Then Arthur gets a stuffed giraffe and makes it seem like it is talking. This makes Leon stop crying, and he suggests that he look after Leon so Gwen can get some rest. Gwen declines, and Arthur asks if she thinks he'll take Leon while she's sleeping. Gwen thinks exactly that. So Arthur apologizes for overstepping. Then Gwen hands over Leon, but only if he is where she can see him. Gwen is annoyed how she agrees with all of Arthur's demands. Gwen approaches the sofa to sleep, but Arthur picks her up to put her on it. He comments how she is very light, and Leon is laughing at the face she made. Arthur puts Gwen down and starts to lean in toward her, but Gwen has flashbacks and pushes him away so they don't do anything they'll regret. Gwen is asleep, and Arthur is taking pictures of Leon doing cute poses. Arthur notices Gwen sleeping and wishes her sweet dreams while touching her hair. Soon, Gwen wakes up and is well rested. But she doesn't see Arthur as Leon and expects the worst. But Arthur appears holding Leon. Arthur is tired because Leon was awake all night, so he hands Leon over to Gwen and lies down. Gwen is surprised he stayed up all night and says that he did a decent job. Arthur says good night, but then Leon kicks him in the face. Soon, Leon wakes Arthur up. It is now the afternoon. Nana has returned and it's time to eat. She suggests they go outside, and Arthur agrees. Gwen is hesitant because of the agreement, but Arthur says he just wants to spend his day off with her and Leon. So Gwen agrees. Gwen is getting ready and texting Carol. Carol says she found a lawyer, which makes Gwen remember that Arthur is her enemy. But she doesn't know what to do because they are so nice to her. Nana enters the room with Leon and Gwen likes his outfit. Arthur is also ready to go. Nana puts Leon in a stroller and they leave. Arthur suggests they go to the zoo, but Gwen says no because she doesn't have a car seat. Arthur has noticed that Gwen is worried about him spending money on her and Leon. So he suggests they go to the market. Gwen reluctantly agrees, but says she will pay him back. All of this makes it hard for Gwen to see Arthur as an enemy. They are shopping, and Arthur suggests Leon needs everything, including an air fryer, toys, and a tent. This frustrates Gwen because she has to say no. Later, Gwen reaches for an item, but she can't reach it. So Arthur grabs it for her. Gwen says they don't need much, and they need to carry everything back anyway. Leon starts making noises, so Gwen gives him a bottle from the bag she brought. Arthur is impressed by her level of foresight. Arthur is checking out, and all the women are infatuated by him. But Gwen is worried about what people think of their relationship because she's clearly out of place. They are walking home, and a man driving a motorcycle approaches us. Arthur holds onto Gwen and Leon to make sure they don't get hit. Later on, they encounter two ladies who say it's nice to meet the new family who moved in. This family is Gwen, Arthur, and Leon. This makes Gwen think about if that's what others really think of them as. They arrive at the house and Nana has already left. Arthur offers to help, but Gwen declines and says it's time for him to leave. Arthur acknowledges this, but before he does, Gwen tells him to wash up. Arthur agrees and Gwen walks away. Arthur is getting ready and is happy the women called them a family. Gwen notices that Leon is hungry and is going to make him food. Then Arthur walks in shirtless because he heard crying and forgot a change of clothes. Gwen gets embarrassed and tells him to leave when Arthur says it's fine because she's seen it all before. While Gwen is feeding Leon, Arthur says he has a client meeting tomorrow and asks what Gwen is doing. She says she's meeting with her best friend, and Arthur asks if that's the same one who went on the cruise ship. This angers Gwen and she says to not mention to cruise. Arthur continues by talking about how he was depressed during the cruise and his friend told him to try and find someone special. He thought it was absurd until he saw Gwen. But Gwen is confused why Arthur is trying to understand her even though she left him after a one-night stand. Arthur says he has his reasons and he has been looking for her for a long time. Then Arthur gets a message that his ride has arrived and he says goodbye to Leon. He thanks Gwen for giving him this opportunity and leaves. But Gwen knows she can't give in just because Arthur is being nice because their reality is complicated. So she calls Carol saying that she will meet with the law firm tomorrow. The next day, Gwen leaves the house while Nana is watching Leon. Nana texts Arthur this information, but it makes him realize that he doesn't have Gwen's contact information. He doesn't know if he should get it. Gwen meets up with Carol. Carol thinks Arthur is only being so nice to her so he can eventually take Leon away. But Gwen points out that Arthur is trying hard and Nana takes good care of Leon and teaches her a lot. But Carol warns her to not get seduced. They go to the law firm and Gwen is worried she won't be able to afford a lawyer from such a fancy place. They get seated and Carol goes to the bathroom. Gwen is waiting and helps a man who dropped his books. The man is thankful and she helps bring the books to his office. Then another man approaches saying that he can be imprisoned or fined for what he did to Gwen. The man asks if Gwen is okay and she is surprised to see him. His name is Lance Tanaka and Gwen already knew him. The other man is Gil Hall. They are Gwen's lawyers. She must be disappointed Carol didn't hire Saul Goodman. Gwen explains the situation and the lawyers think it is unacceptable. Gwen asks if they can win and Gil says there's nothing to worry about because Lance scored #1 on the bar exam. The meeting is over and Lance asks if Gwen is free after this and Gwen says she isn't. Lance reassured Gwen that Gale is a great attorney. Lance asks why Gwen agreed to Arthur's terms and Gwen is angry. She thinks Arthur should have stayed out of their lives and yet she is agreeing to everything he demands. Gwen is relieved that Lance is handling her case because she knows she can trust him. In the past, Lance left her while on a date to advance his career. He apologizes for this, but Gwen says he doesn't have to because he now owns a law firm. Gwen is leaving and Lance thinks he can do something now, so he calls out to Gwen and puts his arms around her. Gwen is confused, but Lance says that he will protect her and walks away. Gwen gets home and Nana hands Gwen her baby. She also says that Arthur might not come tonight. Gwen thanks Nana and she leaves. Gwen is playing with Leon and tells him that she met with people so he won't be taken away from her. Then she gets a call from Lance and he apologizes for what he did earlier. Gwen laughs about it instead of getting mad. Regardless, Lance says he needs more information on Arthur and tells her the plan. Since then, Nana has been coming over to help. Arthur hasn't come in 3 days and she thinks he's busy with business. She can't contact him either since she doesn't have his contact information. Then Nana gets a call from Arthur saying he forgot something. After the call, she tells Gwen about it. At the office, Arthur can't take a break because he needs to make the housing project his late father started a reality by meeting with the property owners. At Arthur's apartment, Nan is telling him that Gwen's things are old. But Arthur is aware of this and can't buy new ones because Gwen won't allow it. Nana suggests Gwen live here because it's hard for her to get to and from the house and would be easier for Gwen. Arthur considers it. Gwen is at Arthur's office to bring him something while Nana takes care of Leon. She thinks it's the perfect opportunity to gather information on Arthur. Gwen enters and tells the receptionist she has an appointment with Arthur, but the receptionist says she doesn't. Suddenly, a man recognizes Gwen and takes her up the elevator. He is Percy, and was on the cruise. Percy remembers her because Arthur was looking at her the whole time on the cruise. They get off the elevator and Percy suggests they surprise Arthur. Percy tells Gwen to hide in his office, but Arthur is already in there. Arthur is jealous that Percy is with Gwen and leaves with her. Gwen tells him that she is here to give him this, and Arthur is grateful to Nana for setting this up. Then, Arthur puts his hand around Gwen saying that he missed her. Arthur tells her to not talk to strangers and to stay away from Percy. Gwen gives Arthur the item he forgot, and when she spots the stuffed animals they got at the cruise, Gwen decides to leave. Arthur insists they go somewhere, but Gwen declines and leaves. So, Arthur follows her. This irritates Gwen because she doesn't want others to get the wrong idea. Percy is getting out of the elevator, so Arthur hides himself and Gwen. The lady with him is discussing if they should leave Arthur out of the deal involving getting the property his father wanted. She suggests they do it without him because he is careless and tells Percy to negotiate before Arthur gets there. The lady leaves and Gwen thinks Arthur seems more serious at work. Gwen suggests they talk somewhere, so they go to the courtyard. Gwen didn't think Arthur was actually busy, but he is. But Arthur hates working. This company was passed down by his father, but it isn't his dream. He just wants to meet someone special and have a family. He thinks it's boring, but Gwen thinks it's romantic. Arthur thanks Gwen for inviting him here and apologizes for not visiting because there is a lot of stuff going on with his family right now. Gwen decides to leave and comments what's the point of their agreement if he is always in the office. Before she goes, Arthur asks for her number and she puts it in his phone. Arthur sends a cute picture of Leon to Gwen and she is in awe. Gwen is leaving the building and thinks she enjoys being around Arthur. Then, she is confronted by a woman with red hair asking where she's been. Gwen is shocked to see her. She approaches Gwen and asks why she ran away when they gave her everything she needed and loved her as family. After Gwen's stepfather's death, she lived with her biological father's family. Gwen is the product of a loveless marriage, and her half-sister Camila and her mother didn't make her feel welcomed. They made Gwen take care of the house while they were on vacation. Gwen tried to fit in, but it didn't work. So, she got part-time jobs to move out, but it wasn't easy. All she can recall are bad memories with them. So, Gwen says that Camila's family never loved her and she doesn't tell them anything. So, Camila insults Gwen for having a child with an unknown man. Gwen is ashamed. Then Arthur appears and asks what's wrong. Upon seeing him, Gwen starts to leave and Arthur follows her. But she doesn't want to talk to him because he doesn't need to get involved in her family issues. But Arthur stops her and says that he is here to listen and understand her because he wants to help her. Gwen stops and Arthur asks if he said something wrong. Suddenly, Gwen starts crying. So Arthur picks up her chin and asks what Gwen thinks of her, Leon, and him becoming a family. He wants to take responsibility. But Gwen says Arthur isn't making sense. He already has visitation and she doesn't want to turn their relationship into something else. Arthur asks what Gwen thinks of his proposal, but then he gets a call. Gwen grew up with a wonderful father, but didn't have a normal family. Even now, her family treats her poorly. So when Leon was born, she decided to be the best family he could have. She knows Arthur could get any woman he wanted, so why her? Gwen says that becoming a family isn't a solution because they aren't in love with each other. But Arthur says they can't know for sure if they don't try. But Arthur needs to get back to work and decides they should have a conversation about this later. All of this makes Gwen feel guilty because she hasn't revealed the truth about that night. The client meeting has started and Arthur hasn't returned yet. Camila is the client. The attorney says that everything is fine, but they need authority from an heir of her father's legitimate marriage to legally move forward. The heir in question is Gwen, and this frustrates Camila. The meeting ends and Arthur apologizes for being late. In the office, he says that he's thinking of resigning and getting married. Percy is confused, but Arthur reveals that he and Gwen have a 7-month-old son who is living at one of his properties. He thinks if he approached the situation normally and didn't threaten them, he wouldn't be in this situation. Regardless, Arthur hasn't been able to take his eyes off Gwen since he first saw her. She makes him feel comfortable, and he wants to make sure she and Leon are taken care of. This is his chance to become a family. Camila is leaving the room and is mad. She has been doing the deal behind Gwen's back and can't tell her to sign because they don't have a good relationship. She can't believe she's in this situation because she isn't considered a legitimate child. But Camila saw Gwen with Arthur and thinks he could be connected to Gwen's son. At Gwen's house, Leon is fascinated by the song Baby Shark and Gwen comes back. She thanks Nana for taking care of Leon. Everyone is so kind to Gwen, so she feels bad making them her enemy. Later, Gwen goes to take a bath while Leon is playing. She doesn't know how to feel about everything going on. Arthur arrives at the house and comments on how Leon has gotten heavier after only 3 days. Gwen hears noise and thinks it's Nana, so she walks out of the bathroom. When she sees Arthur, she slams the door shut. Arthur is sitting with Leon, and when Gwen comes out, he says he can help dry her hair. He used to do this for his little sister. Arthur is the oldest child at 31 years old and has 2 sisters. Gwen is 5 years younger than him. Arthur asks if Gwen has any siblings. She's been dreading this question but answers because he has been open to her. Gwen says that both her parents passed away. Her stepfather took her in while her biological father was with her other family. The woman they met at the office was her sister Camila, and they didn't treat her well when she stayed with them. Arthur asks her to hold the blow dryer, and he performs a dance to Baby Shark playing on the TV. Leon enjoys this, and Gwen laughs. Arthur is glad. Arthur takes out snacks he brought and continuously feeds Gwen food. He comments how Leon really likes Baby Shark. Nan even complained after hearing it so much. Regardless, Arthur asks if Gwen is free tomorrow so they can hang out with Leon. Gwen declines, but Arthur asks if she wants Leon to have a happy family. But Gwen says no. She thinks Leon deserves a father, but them playing family when they aren't in love would only hurt Leon. Arthur insists that Gwen give him a chance. But then Gwen reveals that Arthur's ex-fiancée was there that night on the cruise. Thank you for watching. If you liked the video, please consider leaving a like and subscribing. Make sure to check out ExpressVPN, link in description. See you next time.